Welcome back to YIIK. I promise we're getting into the end game.
That's quite alright. As you might be able to hear, I'm slightly degraded from a cold, so maybe the haze of medication will help the remaining time pass by faster.
Well, maybe it'll make things make more sense. I mean, that's a low bar to set, I know.
I suppose. Would you say you remember enjoying a story that was enhanced by the effects of cold medication?
I'm sure I could think of one if you gave me a minute.
Well, we're in a random encounter, so why don't we go over that briefly?
Well, we're actually running out of random encounters to do. You know, they're not actually all random. Well, they're not random at all, really, at this point. For whatever reason, they've just stopped having random encounters on the map, which honestly I think is like a huge improvement. But now the only place that we can go to get XP is these monster dens, and I've done all of them.
Ah. Actually, was it not the case before that monster dens repopulated?
I thought I'd heard sleigh
Nope,
bells
they never
somewhere.
repopulate. They are always one and done.
Chimes, maybe? A church? I sat up in the bed and felt for my panda.
Is that what they're calling it
He
now?
was still asleep. He slept more soundly than I did these days.
I mean, if the sudden twist were that Panda is in fact Alex's penis, that would be kind of amazing.
I hated when my heart raced. It either meant I was nervous, or I had been forced to exercise against my will. That's changed.
It's almost like an ironic turn on the nature of the human penis, in that it apparently protects him from harm and yet also berates him.
When I could feel my heartbeat.
The nature of the human penis is now this title.
My body. I felt alive. I was going to hold on to this feeling as long as I
Clearly,
could.
I need to take more cold medication before
Maybe I'd been
recording
wrong
these
after all.
episodes. I'm apparently at my most witty.
I used to dream all the time, but lately my dreams were fevered and confused. I missed when I dreamed of the Ascension.
That's
2000.
okay, Alex. That happens
I
to a
wondered
lot
where
of
she was.
young
Where did she
men.
go at night? Why didn't she ever stay with me?
This is actually a fair point. Where does the Ascension
Panda.
go? Because she's in our party the whole time, right?
True that. I mean, I feel like we can take for granted that the entire party isn't always just hanging out with Alex and sleeping in his bedroom whenever the adventure is over.
Well, they got rid of the Ascension from our party when we went into the totally not in-game dungeon.
Where do you think the Ascension 2000 goes at night?
Probably to stay over a hotter guy's house.
See, Panda is kind of a dick, so that only
Panda is a huge dick.
only further proves my point.
Yes, probably. Go back to sleep and dream of metal sheep.
Also, that did not sound like Panda was tired. Does Panda get tired if he's like a... Is he a familiar? Does he count as a familiar? Or is he more like an animal companion?
I'd describe him as more of a figment.
Merry Christmas, guys!
I just cut off the past 5 days of me
Wow, I can't
skipping
believe
to the
we're
mine
doing this
dungeon and
almost
coming back out
over.
because I've run out of things to do.
Don't remind me.
Also, it's really weird to hear Vela happy.
Are we gonna do gifts or
I
what?
could have sworn that was a different voice actor for a minute.
Where's the
Yeah.
Ascension 2000?
I guess she ain't much of a holiday person.
Give it to Melanie Ehrlich. She definitely gave a life to Vela that we have appreciated throughout the life of this game.
Christmas story?
But at the same time, there's
Why not?
there are problems
Christmas
with this script
1996,
that she can't really
My mother got my
overcome.
dad a computer.
You
It's
mean
a
like
really
this
good
bit
one,
about
too.
the Christmas story?
He used to do all of his writing on a word processor. The ones with the really tiny screens where you could see 7 or 8 lines max. So anyway, my dad unboxes it and freaks out. He was so
Okay,
excited.
so I think part
You
of
know,
enlightenment
I
is
fell
you're
in love with
supposed
it
to
right
just
away.
let go of these
Whenever my dad left the
anecdotes
house,
that
I'd
nobody
get on the
cares
computer
about.
and play games
No,
across the
I mean,
internet.
don't you understand? The number of
98,
monologues you do is
Christmas,
directly
they got
proportional
me
to
my
your
own
level of
computer.
enlightenment in this game.
No one else
Yes,
has
but I
their
would
own
think that the
computer.
quality of
was
the
amazing.
monologues should endeavor to improve
Made a
just
friend
a little
online.
bit.
Together, we founded Honest 1999.
Thank you for telling us that thing
You
that
wanna
was
hear the
talked
really
about
funny
like
part?
10 hours ago.
When I went and lived all of my parallel lives, I was him. I was on a computer, talking to me. Now tell me, how the hell can a computer connect to a chat room that is in another reality?
How does our RJ11 Jack
Something
go
is
to a
screwed
different
up here,
universe
guys.
whenever people call us?
Michael, now might not be the time to talk about this.
This means he has advanced knowledge of the RJ45
This might be
port.
our last Christmas together. Or ever. And you want to waste it talking about this?
You guys have to tell me you've noticed it too. Do you honestly feel like things are the same as they were 2 months ago? 2 years ago?
We've been over this, actually.
Dude,
We have actually been over this a fair amount.
And Claudio's making the
intentionally not
actual point.
The very fabric of everything has changed.
He's actually given us this
It's like one
this
day we were
exact
cotton,
exchange
and today
before.
We're made out of metal. Things are so different.
Can you give us an example, Michael?
Okay. Why the hell haven't any of you asked why the entities were driving the android around?
Because it didn't seem important at the time,
We saved
in the
when we
face
just
of all this
forget
other
about it?
shit.
Why was
Yeah,
he in the
pretty
van in the
much.
first place? Bella, you said it yourself. Soul survivors do not kidnap
Again, the
people.
somewhat erratic nature of
They
this
didn't
game
kidnap
means
Sammy,
that
and they
anything
didn't
that
take
could
the
very
essential
well be a
hostage.
relevant question at any given
Something
point
is weird
is just
here.
completely
It's like
invisible
strange
to the
things are
audience
happening all
because it's
around us,
camouflaged
and only
against
I'm
all of the other
actually noticing it.
stuff that's happening.
You can also count on this game to always abandon the actually relevant
We
plot
just need to
threads.
find the essential
So
2000
it just
and ask
doesn't
her how her
matter.
body ended up in
And
the van.
apparently our reward
It's
for that is
simple.
having Michael scream
Let's finish
at
opening
the
up gifts.
characters for
Tomorrow we can
not
sort this out.
being enlightened to the same level. How did he actually
did.
get worse over
We
the course of this
exchanged
story?
But I was with Michael on this one. Something was wrong when I couldn't place my finger on it. I wondered if this was how people with dying family members felt. A sense of dread. But it wasn't a sense of dread I was feeling.
You lose your shirt and then suddenly
A complete dissolve
the
of
world
everything
makes
I'd ever
perfect
known.
sense in a way that
Only
only
thing that was a
mad
step
people
beyond death.
understand.
First you lose your shirt and then you're
Reality,
taking crazy
the color of the
pills, you
sky,
know.
the sound of
It's
the
just,
trees,
that's
your
how
memories.
things go.
All remain the same. This was different. This was beyond unusual.
This was advanced unusual.
Ooh.
Well, let's just skip a few more days.
Also, I'm a little surprised that there wasn't a Hanukkah celebration. Okay, yeah, we did skip quite a few days there.
I told you, there's literally nothing else to do. They just throw me into this area.
In a way, slightly less OCD-inducing than the end of most Persona games, where you kind of realize that as the day closes in, you won't have the opportunity to do everything you want.
It's me. So, haven't you asked yourself the question yet? You know, the important one?
Who is this?
I guess he will not make the most of our precious vote.
No, he won't.
Oh boy.
Hi, Alex, it's Sammy. Have you been taking care of my cat?
Are you gonna give us
Where are
an
you?
assassination target or what?
We don't have enough money for that. No. We do have enough money for that. We have all the money in this world.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanna say that someone has valued a human life at less than $18,000. It's depressing, but I'm sure it's happened.
Son,
Dad?
where the hell have you been? We were worried sick about you. You said you were just going to bike to Justin's house.
Dad refers to himself with the royal we.
Freaking out.
Dad!
I imagine it's more referring to the we in the parental sense.
Did you figure out the question?
What is go screw yourself?
Not a bad response, all things considered.
So, you may have noticed the hint that says, answer the phone. There's nothing for you to do until the service
Hey, Alex,
system
it's
decides that
Sammy.
it wants to fire
Do you
another
remember to pick up my cat from
event.
the dry cleaners?
You know, around the 5th time, I was kind of getting tired of these phone calls. But then for a while, it just seems to, like, forget how to connect to the back-end service that's making all this work, I guess.
I think you need to actually go to the hint menu. Okay, that just disproves that right there. See, in a more effective game, I want to say that what would be going on is that every time he answers the phone, something in the house degrades somehow.
Well, yeah, that's clearly what they're going for, right? They're going for this idea that reality is just now starting to collapse, and it's like collapsing hardcore, which is why you start getting all these weird interdimensional phone calls.
And it wouldn't even have to be terribly horror-themed. It would just have to be, you know, something off-putting happens, like, hey, suddenly the plate of cookies is empty, or the chairs moved around a bit and there's only 2 of them now, or something like that.
Well, the last time they did this, they tried to surprise us with creepypasta, so I think that if they tried, they could do a little bit better than that. But yeah, just little subtle things that would really kind of reinforce this nightmarish hellscape thing they're trying to do. I'm doing anything I can at this point to make it fire the next script, because I'm clearly not done. At this point, I was actually starting to, like, go into OBS and see whether or not I'd, like, stopped recording, or if I needed to trash something, or...
See, you're actually going for... Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I was like, yeah, the next trigger is going to be when you go all the way up to your room. It's going to start ringing again.
I don't think it's a trigger. I think it just forgot.
That was pretty long for something to forget. It's... Huh?
I don't know what's going on.
I think the triggers, yeah, are a combination of opening the menu, going to certain areas of the house.
I've had the weirdest dreams.
Oh no.
I've been dreaming that I'm a boy. Dreaming that I'm a boy. That dreaming boy, I am that boy dreaming. Isn't that funny? What is that? That isn't funny!
Okay, it's a little late to do sweary backmasking at this point, game.
I will give it to them, though. That was very well executed sweary backmasking.
Did you play The Missing by any chance?
No, I did not, but I am familiar with the technique.
Well, I'd certainly recommend it. It's a game that tells a very poignant story in the course of roughly 3.5 hours.
Oh, you believe me.
Hey, Alex.
I have a poignant story for us to do after this.
Claudio's waiting for you to watch some cartoons.
I'm not sure if the implication here is that Alex in a parallel universe is the little brother
Alex,
of Claudio and Chandra.
Have you seen my hula hoop or my headphones? Also, I've been thinking about changing my hair. It's getting so big.
I will actually give it to the game. I love Sassy Michael.
That works. I'm reminded, though, of the somewhat awkward implications of having a voice actor do the affectations of an African-American speaker.
See, this is why you don't give people the script without showing them the rest of the game.
Only other time I recall that happening in recent memory would be in Ace Combat 7.
Oh.
Yeah. It was something. I ended up seeing Patrick Seitz at a convention and got him to sign my copy of Ace Combat 7, and I think he knew it was as awkward as
the elevator and you vanished into the crowd.
I thought it was.
Why do you always disappear on me like that? You know how much I hate that.
Are you telling me that Ace Combat 7 wasn't just talking planes?
Well, curiously enough, the part of the plot of Ace Combat 7 hinges on people being in planes.
I don't even know. Didn't I dream that? Man, I wish I dreamed that.
Talk it out. Why do you think you were getting all those strange calls?
I have no idea, but Panda, have you noticed how weird things have been?
You mean with all the soul survivors, androids, and long-haired punk kids you've been rolling with lately?
Alex, please stop
No,
talking to
even
your
before that.
penis. It's somewhat disconcerting.
Started.
Who's the long-haired punk kid?
I guess around the time I came home from school, for starters.
Also, I think the long-haired
And
punk
I know
kid
this could be
is
just a coincidence,
supposed to be Rory.
But I didn't see my mom for
Yeah,
weeks.
Rory is like the least punk kid
What I
I've
finally
ever
did
seen.
changed.
Yeah.
I found myself saying some really bratty things.
Mostly normal.
No, it wasn't. Something is weird. Where's my dad been? Don't you remember? My dad worked for Pacific Chime. Not my mom.
I feel like something is weird is
No,
the
my
single
mom worked
most
for Moon Macro
understated
Systems.
basic descriptor for this
Met
game
at
I
the
could come up
programming
with.
convention.
Damn it.
When did my mom
I should have
start
let
working
you
for
pick the
Pacific
thread
Chime?
title.
You don't have a dad.
Yeah, I do. Of course I do.
Yes, Alex simply reproduced by budding.
I was gonna go with
where is he?
parthenogenesis myself, but
He's... And then Michael. When did Michael move back to Frankton?
Didn't Michael move away when he was 10?
When did he move away? Michael, 19, a tall, witty, brown-haired white guy.
I don't know
He was a
about
few
witty,
years younger
Alex.
than me, but I
To
never
be
felt
fair,
like there was much
Alex's
of an age
standard
gap
for
until
wit is
now.
himself and many episodes
Summer
of
he moved
Daria
to
to
town,
which
we
he's
spent a lot of
inferior.
time together.
I can certainly get behind that description.
Outside until the sun went down, counting the accomplishments of those summer days based on the number of mosquito bites and caught fireflies. Michael had moved to the area when he was 12, 1991. The year Michael Stipe of REM sang Losing My Religion.
Ha! Fucking called
It was a
it!
peaceful
Oh,
green
man.
street at that time. Not a single thing to claim your attention.
You did
Handful of white
indeed
houses
call
with
it.
A few fences, a stream full of crayfish. Two lanes
I'm
where the
never gonna
hotel
let you live
highway.
that down.
Barely a yawn of a shopping center. That was it. Most houses had maple trees planted
I
in the
suppose
yard.
to distract
brand new, not
from
yet beaten fences.
how owned I apparently was,
And there
I'm
were all
going
those
to
giant
have to ask
billboards
what
advertising
exactly
the
this
building right
anecdote
off
has to do
82.
with anything in this story
The
so
house he
far.
moved into was a mid-century
I think they're
model
implying
style
that
built
Alex
sometime
has
in
somehow crossed universes and is now in a parallel universe where Michael didn't go away. This is kind of what I'm getting from this whole conversation. I don't know what this weird, like, weird description of the Italian countryside is.
So ultimately, the culmination of this whole story is, no, Alex, you are the sole
Bay
survivors.
windows hung with lace curtains, faded into a nondescript color. Down by the pond, daffodils were in righteous bloom, and every morning birds came to bathe. The first owner of the house, also its designer, had been an elderly oil painter. But his lungs gave out on him and he died the winter before Michael moved in.
Oh man, Michael's house being haunted would be a way better introduction to this game, wouldn't you say?
Oh my god, wouldn't that be so good of a twist if Michael was actually a ghost?
Didn't he move when I was 12?
It would just be one more thing to add to the pile at this point, unfortunately.
Why is Michael back in Frankton?
It would certainly explain the floating.
Didn't they move to Canada when his dad got that publishing deal?
Because this isn't your Frankton.
We didn't want
really
Michael.
moving there?
We sent him back.
Come to think of it, didn't you and Michael have a falling out? He moved away, you went to hang out with him, and he had given you the wrong address or something like that?
Yeah, sort of. He had me meet him at a mall near his house, and when I got there, he never showed up.
You know, I actually thought that was very similar to that bit where Alex went to the wrong house, but then I was kind of put off by the thing about the mall, because that was never mentioned.
Yeah. And you are right about the whole anecdote of Alex forgetting where Michael's house was being foreshadowed quite a bit earlier, but...
This is one of these things where I think Alex has somehow stepped into an alternate universe, like he's taken the place of Alex Prime or whatever.
Well, as John Mulaney said, unfortunately we don't have enough time to unpack all that, so let's revisit what exactly is going on next time.
I suppose we'll have to. This is giving me a headache.